What's up, Hoops fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most anticipated Eastern Conference Finals matchups, the New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers. This is really a revival of one of the most iconic NBA rivalries, and it's really got everything. It's got a clash of styles, star power, and most importantly, revenge and unfinished business. Let's break it down.
Yeah, this is gonna be honestly a really great series. Last year we saw the Pacers actually win this matchup. I personally had the Knicks winning this matchup, but injuries hit the Knicks pretty brutally. Jalen Brunson was playing like a top 5 player, and then he fractured his hand in Game 7. OG Anunoby went down in Game 2. Julius Randle didn't even step on the court. The Pacers took advantage of this and shot an insane 67% from the field in Game 7, one of the most efficient playoff games in NBA history. But now, this is like two totally different teams. The Knicks lost Isaiah Hartenstein, but upgraded with Karl-Anthony Towns. They're healthy, they're reloaded, and they're out for payback. This Pacers team is also just as deadly. They just beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, which pretty much no one expected, in a convincing 5 games. But the question is, can the Pacers hold them off again?
So, obviously, we got to start with the Star Showdown. Battle of the Point Gods, Jalen Brunson versus Tyrese Haliburton. To talk about Jalen Brunson, he's averaging over 30 points a game in the playoffs. He is just carving up defenses. He has amazing footwork. He has amazing craft. And he has such a strong will. He has battled through injuries. He's battled through contact and remains one of the best point guards in the game. And Tyrese Haliburton, I remember at the start of the season, all of us were talking about how he sucks. He had that injury, I think, last year. I think it was a hamstring injury or something like that. And people really writ him off, but he is running this fast-paced offense like a maestro. He is facilitating transition threes, no-look dimes, and really making plays that are shifting the momentum.
Definitely.
If either of these guys dominate, that's probably going to dictate who wins the series. But, Brunson has been here before, and Haliburton has been here as well. So they both have experience, and we'll see which one of these stars pull through.
Yeah, and this game is definitely going to be a basketball chess match. It's a clash of two different styles. The Knicks, they want to slow it down. Jalen Brunson in the half court. They have people that are going to grind out games. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns. They're willing to win ugly. Even if they don't score the most points, as we saw with Boston normally averages like 120 points per game. They put up like 90s, low 100s. That's what the Knicks want to do. Jalen Brunson in the half court is pretty much unstoppable. They have wings that can slow down these players, even like the likes of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But then when you compare it to the Pacers, well, it's absolute chaos. I mean, it's fast breaks, it's threes, it's constant movement. It's even if Tyrese Haliburton gets the switch, there's going to be another guy that sets the screen on that switch. Like, the Rick Carlisle offense is going to be fast moving, and it's totally different. The New York Knicks are still a really good rebounding team. Sure, they lost Isaiah Hartenstein, but Mitchell Robinson coming back from injury is really big. They still have Karl-Anthony Towns, who's a beast on the boards. And yeah, they're a totally different team from last year. Last year, they relied so much on Brunson, but now they can give it to Cat in the post. They can have Mikal Bridges do some stuff off the dribble, that little mid-range on the baseline. They have options now. Indiana, well, they're pretty much the similar team as last year, but they're just better. They have more chemistry. They have Pascal Siakam for a whole season. They have Miles Turner getting better. Bennedict Mathurin, Tyrese Haliburton is an even better player. They're going to run right at you before your center even gets up on the court. I expect Mitchell Robinson and Cat to both get targeted significantly, especially by Haliburton. We saw Defensive Player of the Year Evan Mobley get destroyed by Haliburton. What is Karl-Anthony Towns going to do about that? It's going to be really interesting. But the key here is just who controls the tempo. Historically, in the playoffs, the game slows down. A lot of these fast, young and gun teams, like we saw with the Houston Rockets, like, they relied so much on transition offense, but against the Warriors, they couldn't really get there. And when their half-court offense set up, they couldn't beat the Warriors. If this turns into a rock fight, I could definitely see the Knicks taking full advantage of it. Jalen Brunson just tearing apart. But if it's a track meet and they're both willing to run and gun, the Pacers will no doubt run away with it. Pretty much literally.
So, game plan is really important, but there's a pretty famous saying that goes, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmy and Joes. So let's really go into depth about who is going to play and what guys both teams have. Let's start with the Knicks. The Knicks got a lot of guys in their starting five. Mikal Bridges, he's had a kind of up and down year, but he really is the quintessential 3-and-D player with shot creation upside. He can attack off the dribble, he can shoot the mid-range, and he's obviously a great defender. You have Josh Hart, the glue guy who can really do anything. But in my opinion, the biggest X factor is, will any of these people get hurt because of how many minutes they've been playing? But, they got a lot of guys. Their starting five is great. Their bench is a little bit questionable. They have
Miles McBride.
Campaign. They have Campaign, Suns legend.
It's pretty rough out there, Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, but when you're rolling out Campaign in the conference finals, and he's probably their 7th or 8th man, that's pretty rough. But let's move on to the Pacers. Like we already mentioned, Pascal Siakam brings championship experience. I think people forget that Pascal Siakam, NBA champion, he is an elite mid-range scorer, does a lot of great things at the forward position. And then there's Obi Toppin, former Knick. He does a lot of the little things, and Benedict Mathurin as well, who can explode off the bench.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can see. Like, if you look at some stats, like, we can see that the Pacers pretty much lead all playoff teams in pace and fast break points. Like, we saw against Cleveland, they can swing a series just as quickly as that game 2. Mitchell had almost 50. But in the last, 60 seconds, they just took over. We can see also the Knicks give up the fewest points in the paint, actually, with this rim protection of Cat and pretty much having their wings play defense. But also, the Pacers score the most. They have a highly efficient three-point offense. And we can see that a lot of times people see the Pacers go off in 3, but it's become so common that it's almost expected. And if New York can't stop that, that's going to be a major problem. It's going to be a pretty much a series of strength versus speed, grit versus glide. It's going to be a lot of things on both sides that's going to sway who's going to be the victor.
To talk really briefly about coaches, though, let's start with Tom Thibodeau. Our biggest critique about Tom Thibodeau is that he runs players to the ground. We saw it last year that his team just fell apart in terms of health. And I don't know. The playoffs are long. Games are really close to each other. There is a reasonable possibility that by game 2 or game 3, his players just get too injured. But outside of injuries, no one questions his defensive schemes. He's obviously a great defensive coach, as seen as his team's #1 defensive rating in the paint. Sometimes Tom Thibodeau is criticized for not having very complex offensive schemes. And if you watch the games, it really just boils down to my turn, your turn, hero ball from Jalen Brunson. You're going to need a lot more creative in offense to get by the Indiana Pacers. And then Rick Carlisle, he's cool, calculated, experienced. He makes great in-game adjustments. I think that's something that is really underrated about Rick Carlisle, is his ability to make adjustments in the game within a series. And he has really taken this Pacers team far beyond anybody can expect, and it's all because of his in-game adjustments. Nobody talks about how great of an in-game adjustment coach that Rick Carlisle is.
So now taking this all into mind, who do we have for this series? And it's close. I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. But personally, I have the New York Knicks taking it 7 games. I think we've seen a lot of stinkers by Haliburton, and I think that the reason he cooked against the Cavs is that they really don't have anyone to guard him. Like, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell is guarding you. Like, they're shorter, and Haliburton can take advantage of that. I think throwing Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby is going to be big, and I think that Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be a big series for him. But I think Jalen Brunson is just the best player in the series. Like, Jalen Brunson has taken over against the Celtics, who are a much better defense. And yeah, Pacers can go off offensively, and that's going to give them a couple games, but I still got this. I have the slight edge to the Knicks. What you got?
Yeah, I got the Knicks too. We'll see. With that being said, thank you for watching our video. Drop down in the comments who you think is going to win.
Drop down that like and subscribe too. We'll watch this video back in a couple weeks and see if you're on the right track.
Yeah, I'll see you all at the other side.
See ya.